Again, I'm delighted to have you all here. It's Amarachi, Community Manager at Veramo, and I'm joined by my teammates Nick and Simon. Unfortunately, Mercha won't be joining us for the community call today. We have with us Anjali. I'm going to be adding you to the stage when it's time, so please just a little patience. In the next 10 minutes, I'll be adding you to the stage. Okay, so we are going to get started with the technical update. So I would hand it over to Nick to kickstart the technical updates. So over to you, Nick.
Yeah. So since our last community call, we published a few small updates, a few releases with some bug fixes, mostly related to pagination queries in the data store plugins. So take a look at that if you've had any issues with that in the past. And we have a major release coming up that has a few breaking changes in it. Not all of them are breaking. For example, we have a new way of using DID aliases. So previously you had to know the DID provider that you were trying to find the DID for by alias. Now you don't need to specify the provider anymore. Just knowing the alias will get you the DID that you need. Um, uh, Major change is that we're changing the way that objects are identified in the database. So previously we used Blake hashes for the credentials, and now we'll be using the CIDs that are used on IPFS, and that'll make it a lot easier to find credentials, whether they're stored in your local database or they're stored somewhere like Ceramic or IPFS. And that obviously, it's not necessarily a breaking change. It doesn't break the previously stored credentials, but it might cause issues depending on how you use credential hashes in your program. Also, finally, bumping the ethers dependency to v6. Want to give a shout out to the folks at Spherity for helping work through all the issues associated with that upgrade. And we also have a new utility function that will give you the usable proof formats for a DID, which will be based on the plugins that your agent has, as well as the key types that the DID has. So you can just pass in a DID, and it will tell you that this DID supports, JWT VCs or JSON LD VCs or EIP 712 VCs, instead of having to figure that out manually. So these changes are already available if you use the next version on NPM, and they'll be on the normal major release in the coming days, I think. That's it for updates. And then we just wanted to give another, a call to action for a little bit of assistance on a couple of things. It's a very big project, and it's hard to uncover all of the corner cases. And so we're still trying to fix a couple of issues that it may affect you. Specifically, if you have any problems with the Open API specification that is generated by the plugins. If you have any problem with that, please let us know and join the GitHub discussions about that topic. And we're also aware of certain issues that some projects are having that relate to ESM and some specific frameworks that you may be using. So some people have been seeing some issues when bundling on, I think it's called Vite, or React Native in some situations. So if you've noticed that you're having some problems related to ESM and the specific way that you're trying to bring Veramo into your project, please let us know and join those discussions, because as the more data points we can collect on what exactly each little problem is, the easier it will be for us to fix that. I think that's it on the technical update side.
Great. All right. Thank you, Nick, and thank you to everyone that contributed to that update. I think one other very important update that happened between our last community call and now is that we finalized the donation of Veramo to Div. I'm pretty sure we all saw the announcements, whether in the community or on social media, which is actually exciting because now we get to tap into the wider Div community to continue building the Veramo project. So we are excited and we look forward to where this takes us, basically. So I have to point out before Angelique comes up that at the end of this call, we are going to be having a Q&A session. So if you want to ask any question or you want to make a contribution, feel free to request to speak and I would add you to the stage so that you can air your thoughts. So with that, I'm going to call up Angeli Young, who is the co-founder of Collabland, and today she's going to be making a presentation on building reputation through verifiable credentials. Angeli, I'm going to quickly invite you to speak now. You should have an invite. Great. Um, Hi, Angeli. Nice to meet you. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I am so thrilled that you are all like camera on people. I will say we also do community calls. Well, we call them town halls, but we do town halls, which are our version of community calls. And we're all off camera the entire time. We're definitely more in the off camera group. And I am definitely an on camera type of person because I use my hands for everything. So I'm always like being like this. And so I like being on camera. Also, just being able to see your faces. So
Yeah,
nice to meet you, Nick. Nice to meet you. Is it Amarachi?
correct. Yes.
Should I say every vowel there? Amarachi. Okay,
Yes,
cool. I
exactly.
know sometimes they're skipping along. I'm Anjali. It's like the A in America. Nice to be here. I don't have any slides, but I am going to show you a live demo of Kudos. And so we'll do that kind of toward the end. But yeah, I was going to start with welcome everyone who's in the audience. I see Rude Moose, who I'm probably going to use as an example many, many times. And I see some new people or people I don't know. So welcome everybody. Nice to have you here. I am in London right now for Bitcoin Unleashed. It's really interesting. This is Collabland's first Bitcoin conference, but Bitcoin is now interestingly moving into the builder space. They've got some layer twos. There's a lot happening there that is very reminiscent to ETH like 2 years ago. So it's been a really interesting experience being here and kind of seeing them 2 years into the past of where we were, but I know it's going to build really, really quickly. So unless there's any questions before I start, I'm going to go into my presentation and then we will end with showing an example or a live demo of what Kudos are and how we use them in the Cloudland server. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, cool. Well, okay, good. So I'm going to assume people don't know what Collabland is and kind of start from there. Like, what's the history of Collabland? Where did Collabland come about? How did we get into then this relationship together? And how we got here pretty much. So Collabland started in with our company, which is Abridged. Abridged is the makers of Collabland. We started in 2018 spring with a social recovery contract wallet. And so we started with a social recovery contract wallet in 2018, and it just didn't ever take off. We didn't get product market fit. There weren't enough people interested. There weren't enough users, casual users. And so it just never took off. And then Abridged pivoted to no code tooling in January of 2020. So by this point, we were trying to attack at the user level, like let's try to get as many users as possible to use this social recovery wallet, to then pivoting to developers. Let's try to get developers to build something in crypto. If we have enough apps that are interesting for people, then we can get to the users. So it's like, how are you going to try to build the city? I guess it's like asking people to move into the city Or do you ask people to come and build the city? And then once you have a city that's built, then you can start inviting the people to come move into it. So it's like the goal from the beginning was get to mass adoption, get to as many people using this space and using crypto, using blockchain technology, as many as possible. How do we do that? With that being our North Star, we were able to pivot. It took a little while because you have an idea of how things are going to succeed, but we were able to pivot then in January of 2020. Once that started, then it became a question of how do we get developers to know what no-code tooling is and to try to attract them to our product, right? To the abridged no-code tooling. So we started creating little toys, little apps, little reference implementations using that no-code tooling. I remember we had one that was called was a voting bot, and we were trying to get the tagline "Voting is the new like." Out the door, like voting is a new like. Maybe that'll attract people, attract developers to notice our app and then say, "Oh, I want to make one too." Didn't happen, but again, there's no like I guess simple straight path to success, and we're all still there. I don't know if we could even call it necessarily success yet, but we're all on the path to success, and really the path to success meaning not giving up. So if that's the path and if that's the well-known route, which is don't give up, then we did not give up. In May of 2020, we joined a hackathon called the Hack Money 2020 and created Collabland Bot, again, as a reference implementation of our no-code tooling. Still trying to get people to use our no-code tooling, but this time created a bot called Collabland Bot. Now, we created it because at that time we had our own DAO called the Collab 19 DAO, because this is like, if you can think about this, this is like the first months of COVID. And so we were collecting, people were granting money into the DAO, people were asking for grants out of the DAO. So we were in the situation where we were trying to get people interested in our DAO. And so the toy, the app that we created for our own need was called Collabland. Well, at that point, it was called Collab 19. So we had the Collab 19 bot, and it was so that we would check on chain when somebody wanted to join the group, like if Nick or Amarichi or Candy want to join the group, then we would check their wallet, and in their wallet see if they have the qualifying DAO shares. These were Moloch shares or ERC20s. See if they have the required assets in order to join the group. And this was all Telegram chats. So there were no roles. It wasn't Discord. It wasn't different channels. It was literally just a Telegram chat. Either you're in it because you qualify or you're out because you don't qualify. So that was very much the very first version of Collabland. Just checking on chain, having people sign a message that says, yes, this is my wallet, being able to connect that social identity to their wallet address, right? So now we know their Telegram name, ID, and we know their wallet address. And now if they qualify, they get to be in the group. So that was the very first version. It was just in or out. After that, now it's been 3.5 years. It's grown much larger. But back then, that's all it was. And I do not even remember if we were doing any kind of balance checks at that point. I'm going to say no. The very first version of Collabland was literally connecting a wallet to a social ID and then checking that wallet to see if it qualifies, the rules are qualified, that the admin or the community is has made for that group the requirement, if the requirement has been met. After that, then it became doing balance checks, where we were doing balance checks every 12 hours, every 24 hours. And now we have a whole other system called an event listener. So that first very rudimentary token gating bot was just, when you enter the group, do I qualify or not? Now, at this point, there was no concept of token gating. Having a token and having people join a community or get any kind of individual access based on the assets in their community, or for us, joining a DAO, so these sensitive conversations could happen, like who are we going to grant money to this week? What is their need? Where's the evidence of, or is the receipts of what they purchased with the grant that we gave them? All of that kind of like personal, like sensitive information, we wanted it to only be shared within a group of stakeholders. So our tagline for Collabland is communities with skin in the game. So if you can think of skin in the game, that really means, am I bought into this project? If I'm bought into this project, then I have skin in the game with my cohort, with my fellow members. And so those are going to be the people that care most about the project, and those are the people that we wanted to share this personal information with. Okay, so that was Collabland then, and what happened after that, that is an interesting story, which is, again, like I said, you never know if there's a straight line to success, straight line to product market fit. But for us, Collabland was it. We started using Collabland for our own DAO, like I mentioned, the Collab 19 DAO. And at this point in May of 2020, most people in DAOs knew each other. My co-founder, James, who's also my spouse, co-wrote the white paper for Moloch DAO. He was one of the original summoners for Metacartel, and is just very much a DAO maxi and believes in the what could I say, the potential of DAOs to maybe solve some of the problems that we have right now in terms of inequity and inaccessibility, depending on when you join a company, or maybe what position you start in, or where you are in the world, or what your educational system is, or what you've been able to accomplish through your relationships. DAOs were an opportunity to grow and to have some kind of equal voice. So we started, so anyway, most of the people that were in our DAO were also in other DAOs, and Collabland was not just successful for us personally, like it was allowing us to do the things that we wanted in our DAO, but it allowed everyone to be able to do it. So DAOs very quickly became the first use case for token gating. So it was really DAOs. It wasn't NFT communities or gaming or anything like that. It was really just DAOs, because it's like, now we know who's voting, we know how to approach them and talk to them in chat. You're able to have whipping of the votes. You're able to have side conversations. Really a beautiful thing. And so we started off with DAO adoption, just from the nature of our involvement in the beginning of DAOs, but also then, and I made a little note here, investment and whale groups started using us. And that was, if you recall, I don't know how long people have been in the space, but there was an ICO boom, like 2017, 2018. People are buying tokens. A lot of these tokens haven't amounted to much. However, now, like I see Nick nodding, so I'm going to pick on you, Nick. But now Nick is going to be able to say, hey, did anyone buy a pumpkin coin back in 2017? Well, I have a book right here, and it says pumpkin. Well, how about everyone with 500,000 or more pumpkin coin? I'm starting a whale group. Has nothing to do with the project. It's just Nick and his pumpkin coin saying, let's see what we can do. But yeah, being able to go through this bear market, I can draw a little bit of comparison. And the alpha groups then that were using Collabland, and that's why I was involved with those alpha groups, because Collabland was being used by alpha groups. And I was like, oh, this is interesting, just kind of making a note of it. People, because we're permissionless, anyone can create a community. Anyone that's a holder of any of these tokens now can create communities for whales or create communities for anybody. So alpha groups started using us, and having mainly deal flow conversations. Like, look, you own 500,000 pumpkin tokens. All right, you can come in and you can talk to us about what other deals are going on, and let's see what we can do if we can make some magic happen together. So that was alpha groups. And then it wasn't until the spring of 2021 that NFTs really started becoming huge players. However, I'm going to take us back all the way to fall of 2020. And that's when a project called Meme, if you know Jordan Lyle, he's doing a project now called Prohibition. That's his project now, but he's been in the NFT space. I mean, really one of the earliest in the NFT space. He had a project called Meme, and Meme Token was an exclusive chat. At one point, in order to get into the meme community, you had to have a certain number of meme tokens, and it was like $1 million to get into that chat because Meme Token had gone up so high. It was crazy. That was a real crazy milestone for us. We're like, look what tokens as membership, what it can mean. But Board started using us, and that's when I noticed that, like, oh, this could be something really special. Like, all these people that are buying NFTs can all join a group. Like, let's do this. And Candy, I see your note here, but I'm gonna wait till I'm ending. But yeah, but it was like, oh, this could be something. So I, from the Collabland Twitter account, again, this won't happen now. We don't DM people, but on Twitter, I was literally every single new project that came up, I was DMing them from the Collabland account, and I said, hey, you just sold NFTs on OpenSea. Do you want to get all those people into a group together? Do you want to know who your holders are? Because if you do, why don't you try Collabland? It's free. Just have to install the bot on Discord, and give it a shot. And so I was literally like begging every single new NFT community to like try this crazy idea called token gating, and Bored Ape's doing it. So I was able to say that, like, give it a try. Bored Ape's doing it, and it really took off. Our biggest growth by far has been NFT communities. And that's because an NFT as a membership token is extremely compelling. Like, all of a sudden, you have a sense of identity, you have a sense of community, you have a sense of he's my brother, he's my sister, or whatever. Like, we're together now. The way I think about it is like, in previous relationships, and I didn't even talk about my background, maybe I will for a hot second. But in previous online communities and previous relationships all over from history of time and space, like, it's been trust first before you move into a financial relationship. You really have to trust people. If you trust them, then you're willing to move into a transactional relationship. However, this was the first time people were transacting first, buying something first, and then joining the community, and then trust was built in. And it was really interesting to see the way people were connecting over being apes or being pudgy penguins, like, or being a cool cat or being a doodle or whatever it is. Like, there is a camaraderie that comes with that doesn't come from where you went to school, doesn't come from where you live, doesn't come from what gender you are, what nationality you are, what religion you are, or what job you have, or what your economic situation is, but it's based on that transaction. And it's like based on hope, based on belief that that's something I like and you like it too, and that makes us the same. So that's what thrilled me the most about it, and I completely still get excited thinking about that and what that has done for people all over the world. I often use the example of like a Silicon Valley CEO and a taxi driver in Indonesia. Because Indonesia, Turkey, South Korea, Nigeria, there are some countries where crypto has the most adoption in the NFT space. For microtransactions, you've got Africa, you've got South America. I mean, really, so many different places all around the world are using crypto in such a beautiful way through microtransactions. However, like, the NFT situation it was definitely outside of Europe and Asia, or sorry, Europe and the US. It was in some different countries. So I like to use Indonesia as an example. But you can have both of them within the same community, have an IRL event, and everyone's just taking pictures together and being together. The redistribution of wealth we're seeing within crypto, due to blockchain technology, is really one of my most exciting parts about it. Probably the most compelling part of it for me personally. I don't know how much time I have, but I have a bunch of other stuff to say. Am I good with time? I know we started a little bit later.
Yeah,
Can I just keep going?
We have about 10 minutes left. We usually end this in 45. Yes.
Okay, cool. I think we'll be good then. And so, and yeah, I have something at that time too, so it's going to be perfect timing. And so, anyway, we were seeing the adoption of NFT communities. Now we have gaming communities, like Axie Infinity, huge communities, but really they're just one example. There's plenty of other gaming communities. I would say in our top 100 communities, and maybe Candy can keep me honest, but even in our top 100 communities, although more than half were NFT communities, DeFi communities, DAOs, and gaming communities were up there as well. So it's definitely not just NFT communities anymore. And we've got all different types of people using it. Token gating has become a primitive. We all use it. It feels very natural. You can't imagine a time token gating didn't exist, but it really didn't. The concept of having your social ID, having that social ID attached to a wallet, and then gaining membership based on the contents of your wallet was created by Collabland, and it's really one of the greatest thrills. All right, so that's where we are. And now this is in, like I said, it was the spring of 2021, and now we're continuing to just grow like crazy. I'm trying to think right now what the actual numbers were, but I will say in November, oh no, not November, during ETH Denver 2022, I think we were at about 30,000 communities, if I remember correctly. So in November, or sorry, why do I keep saying November? In February, ETH Denver 2022, we were at about 30,000 communities. So it's like we went from one community in May of 2020. Now we were at 30,000 communities during ETH Denver 2022. And since then, and again, remember, ETH Denver 2022, even up until now, is bear market, right? This is all bear market time. We right now are at 53,000 communities. And so we've even grown over 20,000 communities even during the bear market, which is pretty cool. So that's happening in 2022 at ETH Denver, and then we talk a little bit about how Collabland is going to become a DAO, and that's very important to us because social networks, what we're doing, really should belong to, or at least there should be guidance and advice from the people who are using the product. Really, that's what we're trying to do here, right? With blockchain, with crypto, we're trying to give power to people who maybe in the past did not have power, using Facebook or using Instagram. You don't have a decision. You don't get to decide on what features are on Facebook or Instagram, but we wanted the communities themselves, our admins, which we have a precious relationship with and really will do anything for. And Candy knows that part. She's on my support team and also on the comms team. We are there to support and we are there to listen, and they've really guided our product along the way. So we have deepest gratitude for our admins and our members who trust us and are willing to put their trust in our hands in that way, to connect their wallet and to use us for verification. We have this information, they trust us. So moving into some decentralized ID, decentralized ownership of identities. We did not ever want to monetize. We do not monetize member relationships. We do not monetize admin relationships. All your data belongs to you. That's not something that we were keen on doing. And so it's like we were pretty much set up for people to have decentralized IDs and ownership over their own data. And if they want to sell it to advertisers, then they should, and they should be able to make the money off of that. And so that was kind of always in our mind, unsure of how we would start the DAO or what would be the beginning, knowing that we're incrementally decentralizing and it wasn't going to be decentralization from day one. Like I mentioned, we have a support team. We have a lot of sensitive information of over 2.9 million unique users on Discord and Telegram. It's a lot of information, and we need to make sure that we can support those communities and the individuals and stay responsible at every moment. And so with where was I? And so then it wasn't until November, this is still 2022, it wasn't until November of 2022 that we really put our plans in place and started solidifying our plans for a token and a DAO. And what came from that is, what do we want for Collabland? Collabland has built this robust, what we like to call a 8-course meal for communities. Do we want to continue doing that or not? And we really reached back into our no-code tooling roots to say, rather than Collabland continuing to grow, continuing to add people, why don't we build a platform for developers to build on top of? So that was step one. Let's make a platform for developers. So we created the mini app marketplace. Kudos is actually a mini app in the mini app marketplace. So the concept came of a mini app marketplace. Now, what is a mini app marketplace? If you have Collabland installed, then you can go to the mini app marketplace or to the marketplace, and you can one-click install any of these apps. So it's like how do I explain it? It's like Apple phone, and like you want to download the exercise app, and you want to download the fitness app, and you want to download the restaurant delivery app, or the babysitting app, or the rideshare app. Like, your phone doesn't come with all of those apps, but you're able to customize your phone to meet your particular needs. And so in the same way, now community admins, rather than us having to meet all of their needs, again, like I mentioned, we've got DAOs, we've got investment groups, we've got gaming, we've got DeFi, we've got NFTs. Like, we have so many different types of communities, and I will tell you, some communities really surprise me with their use cases. There's no They're much more creative than I am, and or that I can even anticipate in terms of how they're using Collabland. And so for us, we're like, let's create a mini app marketplace, and within that mini app marketplace, let's let builders build anything that they want that is for crypto communities. Now we're going to have this mini app marketplace. Who is going to curate that mini app marketplace? And so then it was like, okay, now there's something for a DAO to do. Now we can have the DAO be presented with the developer's dream, vision, demo, whatever it is, documentation. The DAO will review it, and then the DAO will decide if they want that mini app to be in the App Store. So the curation and safety, security of the mini app marketplace is the responsibility of the DAO. Now, how do you do a DAO? We decided, okay, we're going to have a token. The token is what we're going to have. In October of 2021, we did a NFT drop to reward all members. That was when, in October of 2021, we were at 1 million members. So we had 1 million members, and now we're at 2.9 million, probably more by now. But in October 2021, we got to our first 1 million members. It was a huge deal. 1 million members, what can we do with it? We, at that point, had not decided we were having a DAO yet. We didn't know what was going to come out of doing an NFT drop that way, but we wanted some commemoration of, you were here and you get to be rewarded for being here. And so we did a membership NFT for anyone who was a member of Collabland. This was 1 million people. And about 28,000 people collected that membership NFT, and it was on Polygon. And then we also did a patron NFT because we chose not to monetize data. We're like, look, if you share our values, if you want to continue to see Collabland being free, for new communities to come, if you want to make sure that we can continue to not sell user data, then why don't you support us? And so we sold patron NFTs with no other guarantee of anything other than, if you like what we do and you want us to keep doing what we do, then please buy our NFT. And so we were able to do some fundraising that way, and it really kept us going through a lot of the bear market. So really, kudos, not to use a pun, but kudos to every one of our patrons who, without having any expectation of anything, chose to participate in our little situation back in October 2021. Anyway, so now that we're having a token, we did 100% retroactive distribution. We rewarded the people who had our membership NFT. We gave tokens to people who had our patron NFT. And yeah, it was 100% retroactive. We did not sell a single token. There was no Collabland token that was ever pre-sold to any investors or anybody, really. There was no pre-sale. And Collabland, because we are in a security situation, like we all have to be aware of security, we paid all the gas. And this was on Optimism Network. And we paid all the gas. So it was a sponsored claim. Anyone that had a membership NFT, anyone that had a patron NFT, and anyone who had ever connected with Collabland before our token was announced, which is February 14th, 2023, anybody was able to collect Collabland token. And with that Collabland token, you're able to join the DAO and you're able to start voting. You have voting rights for the mini app marketplace. So that was very, very cool and exciting. Yeah, so that's where we are. And so the reason for that was to be able to curate this mini app marketplace. And that's where Veramo joined us. Veramo is a mini app in the mini app marketplace. If you are an admin of a Collabland server, you can one-click install Kudos by Veramo and have Kudos be active within your community. Now I have 5 minutes, and so I may even be done ahead of time, but I am going to quickly screen share, and I'm going to show you what Kudos looks like in our Collabland server. How does that sound?
All right, go on.
I feel like I've been talking for a very long time. Okay. And if there's any questions, I mean, Candy's in the audience, so thank you, Candy. Candy probably answers some of these questions as well. So Candy, if you can take some of those questions if they come up, but if there are any questions and if I don't see your questions, then please, thank you, Candy. Candy will answer the questions. We're lucky to have her here. Okay, now I am pretty ridiculous when it comes to tech stuff. So I'm going to try my best to do this, but I'm going to click share screen. So here we go. What is a Kudos and why do people give them? Most of the time we give them during town hall, or we'll also give them if somebody is especially open, welcoming, friendly, helping somebody else on board, helping somebody answer a support question. Like anything good people do, we give them a Kudos for. So you start with this /Kudos, and here you have two options. You have Kudos Give or Kudos Show. I'm going to click Kudos Give, and I'm going to give a Kudo to Candy. Now, here we give a drop down of all the things that you can give Kudos for. We wanted to keep it pretty limited until we started seeing the way people were using Kudos. Also, Kudos are verifiable credentials that go from one person to another person. Like, we do not want it to be used for abuse or spamming. And so we give people a drop down of what you can actually thank people for or how you can recognize people. I'm going to say I'm deeply appreciative of Candy for coming to Veramo community call. Oops, not community. Oops. And you can use... also, you can use as many emojis as you want. So I'll put a little message there, and there you go. So now you've got one. That's me sending to her. She gets a notice. She does not get a DM. We don't send DMs anywhere in Collabland. However, she gets a little notice here. She got a little tag, so now she gets a little notification that she's got a Kudos. Now, that's a Kudos. I've sent it to her. It's cryptographic from my wallet to her wallet. Everything's great. Now, how do I see my Kudos? If I go to Kudos Show, I can just click it. I can see my last 3 Kudos. That's pretty much the innovation that we have so far. We've got 3. I will, I don't know, how do I stop sharing screen? Let's see. Am I here? Do you see me? Okay, awesome. So that was, okay, so that was it. You can see, for now, you can send Kudos and you can see your last 3 Kudos. Now with Collabland, I mentioned that we have a admin mini app marketplace. So anybody that has Collabland installed in their community can easily one-click add on Kudos, add on all of the different, I think we have over a dozen mini apps right now. We've got Snapshot, we've got PoApp, we've got an AI, we've got some security ones. I don't know, there's a DAO one. There's plenty of them. If you are a Collabland admin, you have access to all of those. Go and check it out. We have role composition. We've got Guest Pass, so you can invite people into your community, even if they're not a token holder, to check out how they're doing and if they like it, and then they can take a snoop around and then they can decide to buy into your community. But we've got all types of them. Now we're going to have a member portal. So we've got the admin portal. We're going to have a member. We actually have a dev portal as well for any devs that are out there. Candy, maybe you can put the link to the dev portal in the chat. But we've got a dev portal, we've got an admin portal, and now we have a member portal coming out. And in the member portal, you're going to be able to see all of your Kudos. So right now, through just the Discord UI, you can see your last 3 Kudos that you got. But once you're in the member portal, you're going to be able to see all of your Kudos, which is very exciting. And it's going to be opt-in, opt-out on who you want to share it with. And the example I use there is like, look, right now, Candy, I'm going to pick on Candy. Candy sent me a Kudos kudos and I love Candy and we're all best friends and everything's great. Well, now Candy has gotten, I don't know, she's now switched her thinking on some things and now she's making super controversial opinions that no longer align with my wacky opinions. And so I don't want people to know that I got a verifiable credential from Candy. So I'm going to be able to opt in and opt out in what I share with people publicly. Also, why I think verifiable credentials are so, sorry, Candy, you know I love you. Another reason why I think verifiable credentials are really going to be the future of work, the future of resume, the future of reputation is, and again, I'm going to use Candy in this example. Candy and I have been working together for over a year now. She's done so much work for me. She's done so much work for Collabland. She's an incredible teammate, and has done so much. And now we have a falling out. And now she's looking for another job. Well, it's not fair for me to be the gatekeeper of her reputation and of her resume. Now, with verifiable credentials, she will be able to present those verifiable credentials as evidence of the work that she's done without having me as a gatekeeper. And I mean, if I leave us all with a final thought, it's that is the beauty of the blockchain, is not to have middlemen and to make more opportunity for people that have been cut out of raising status, of wealth building, of creating a better lives for themselves and others around them. And that's what we're all here for. So verifiable credentials has been a huge part of that. And it's just been really, really delightful to work with Veramo. How was that? I try to sum it up all in the same time that we have here.
It's amazing. Thank you very much, Anjali. Thank you. Please, if you have any questions for Anjali or Candy, please feel free to either request to speak or you can use the chat. And also, if you want to experiment with the Kudos mini app, we do have the Kudos bot kind of in our Discord, so you can use the same steps that Anjali just used, a slash, then a kudos. I know we don't really have the outlined. I am deeply appreciative of all those things. I don't think it's the same in our own Discord board, but you have to like type it in. I think it's more experimental, the one we have in our Discord. Simon can say more about that. But should you want to experiment and know what a Kudos app looks like and how the verifiable credentials it gives looks like, you're free to use any channel. There is a Kudos channel on our Discord, so feel free to use the Kudos channel. And
I did try it, and I don't really. I did try it, and it seems like it's a completely different flow.
Yeah.
And it also had an interaction field, so I'm not really sure what's happening with that one. However, if you're in any Collabland server, especially if you're an admin, you can install it and start using it. And then if you're in the Collabland Discord, of course, you can use it as well. So I can't give you a list of all the communities that are using it right now. I couldn't name all of them, but if you join the Collabland server, really, you're welcome to. Then you can start sending them, and then maybe Veramo can also download the Kudos mini app into their server, and then they'll be able to start using the same flow that we have implemented.
All right.
Well, Simon could probably speak on it, but we do have the Kudos functionality. I just gave you one in our general chats.
Oh, wonderful.
Channel.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's exactly the same version that is most as up to date on the, but it's a little different, I think, maybe. But Simon made both of them if they're different. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much. I tried in the Kudos channel earlier, and it didn't work for me. But maybe general chat it's working. So thank you. Awesome. Well, if there are no questions, and even if there are questions, I'm Dama De Roca on Twitter. It's DAMADEROCA. My DMs are open. So feel free to reach out. And if you have any questions, happy to help you there. Candy and I run the Collabland Twitter account. It's at collab_land_2_. Candy is Rude Moose on Twitter. You can find us any which way. We're totally accessible and happy to chat with anybody. But thank you so much to Veramo for having us on this community call today. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Anjali. We're out of time now. Senin has a question for you, but it's actually like 3 in 1. So you can either respond through the chat here, or Senin, you can send a DM to Anjali on Twitter. Or Anjali, you can also share your email if Senin prefers that. Okay, so
I think Twitter is the best. I'm
okay.
not as honestly not as good on Twitter as I am. I mean, on email as I am on Twitter. I've just become silly that way. But you can find me on Twitter, and then you can DM me, and my DMs are open. So that would be the best way to reach me. Honestly, I'm just on Twitter the most. So
Amazing.
that's the best place to catch me.